Hey everyone, Adam here with PepperHarrow, and today I thought I would show y'all how we are going to plant our tulips for our U-cut garden. We have our production tulip beds where you may have seen when we were harvesting the tulips are really close together, but this garden that we're planting is for our U-cut customers. I want it to have a nice visual appeal as well as be practical for people getting in and cutting, so I'm going to plant it a little bit different than I do my typical production beds. I have about 3,000 or 4,000 tulips that we're going to do for our U-cut beds, and I'm going to show you how we do it. If anybody out there has a farm, you know the absolute immensity of the workload that you have. I am always looking for the absolute easiest way that I can do anything here. I think I have a pretty good method that is going to work. I know it's going to work. I just know it is. It's the first time I'm trying it, but I'm just going to think positive. I know it's going to work. I'm going to show you how I do it here. And what I'm going to do is this was our dahlia bed, and you see I have my radish cover crop just starting to pop up a little bit, but we're pretty late into November here. It's really not going to do anything. I'm going to use this bed for our U-cut tulips. Well, the tulips will be done in mid-spring sometime, just in time for me to till the bed up and plant something else. The method that I'm going to use is a potato spade. I'm going to spade the garden in strips. I'm going to have nice long single strip rows of tulip. It'll be a beautiful presentation and give plenty of room for everybody to get in and cut. It won't be all packed together like our production section. What I'm going to do is I'm going to first spade the garden and create a trench with these, then we'll hit the next step. Let's do this. My first step here is to spade this garden. I design everything off of the width of our tractor. Everything's going to be about 5 feet apart, which is great. It'll give plenty of room and give a really pretty visual presentation in the spring. There's still a lot of radish cover crop seed that hasn't sprouted. This will have radishes in the spring and have a nice pretty carpet of green with the tulips. We'll see if it works out. I think it will. First step, let's spade the garden. Now that I have this nice and spade, I'm going to come in, I'm going to drop our tulips in a relatively single row. I'm going to be pretty haphazard about it. You'll see me dropping them in, and I have found it doesn't really matter if it's upside down. The tulip is going to find its way towards the surface. We haven't had any issues. We pull tulips all the time that the bulb was facing upside down, and somehow it still produced a beautiful flower. I'm going to get our crates and start dropping tulips in, and then I'll show you the next step of how I get them covered up. You see how I did that? Done. Quick. That's the way we need it on the farm. I don't have time to put everything one by one. It's a farm. There's a million things to do. We need to get this done and get moving to the next thing. Another thing that I want to note is we are almost to Thanksgiving. This seems pretty late for a lot of people to be planting bulbs, but with bulbs, as long as you can work the ground, you can plant your bulbs, as long as we get them in before winter sets in. So the ground is not even near frozen yet. We were 60 degrees and gorgeous yesterday. If you can work your ground, you can plant them in December. We planted bulbs last year in mid-December. We got some clearance bulbs that were crazy cheap, and we threw them in, and they did just fine. We were able to work the ground. They bloomed the next season. Nice and lovely. Now that I have all my tulips down, you see they're not really single row. That's fine. It'll still bloom and be beautiful. We'll do another video in the spring when they pop up and people are out here cutting them and enjoying them. But I'm ready to get them buried. I'll show y'all how I do it. Right, y'all, and this is what I'm gonna use. Let me flip the camera around here. I'm gonna use my toolbar and disc setup to come back and cover the tulips up. I measured the depth of the bulbs and we're about 4 or 5 inches down into this trench. And these discs, I think I have them far enough apart that it's not gonna create a giant mound up top. Hopefully, if we're doing it right, we'll, for the most part, just cover them nice and even, and maybe a little bit of a hump that'll settle down and get pretty flat over the winter. By the time spring comes, it'll be the perfect depth. This is a great quick way to do something like this. I planted 3,000 or 4,000 bulbs in the span of about 20 minutes. I like that. That sounds pretty good to me. I'm gonna get these disked in and we'll see what we end up with. The tulips are planted, y'all. You can see the disc kind of left a little bit of a mound, but that'll flatten out quite a bit throughout the winter. A couple of things to note, we will come in and mulch these in. We want to make sure that we maintain our soil structure throughout the winter. And also, we have relentlessly heavy deer pressure. I will use my solar charger and come in and wrap this whole thing in poly wire, and I'll probably do the 3D deer fence method because the deer, they're crazy. They love tulips. In the past, we have seen them kick the soil to dig out the tulips from underneath the ground just to eat the bulbs. You may have also noticed that I refer to a lot of our flower fields as gardens. It's just something I do. I don't know. It just makes me feel comfortable. I like calling them gardens. That's about it, y'all. Nice, quick, easy method to plant tulips. Jen wasn't able to join me because she is up at the house washing dahlia tubers. If y'all enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. As Jen always says, thanks for joining and happy growing.